I may have mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning it again. When you want to work on your boundaries, if boundaries is an issue, one of the best ways that I found to do it is first do a values assessment. So you sit down. What's a core value of yours? For me, it's timeliness. I'm very big on timeliness. If I say I'm going to be somewhere at 2, I'll be there at 1:59 unless I'm on my deathbed. That's a boundary of mine now. So write down a list of your core values. What is a core value? Is your core value generosity? Is your, whatever your core values are. You might have 2 of these on a paper. You might not have 222 on the paper. Write down your core values. Then go down and write on a spectrum, from 1 to 10, the importance of each core value. So let's just say your first core value is, I like breakfast in bed, whatever. I'm just making something up. Well, how important that is that to you? And a 2. Okay, your next core value is integrity, honesty, fidelity, and that's a 9 or 10, whatever. Your next core value. So you go down your core values and you list them on priority from 1 to 10. Then you go back and anything that's a 7 or above, you invert it and you turn it to a boundary. So for example, I just said one of my core values is timeliness. If I'm going to be somewhere at 2 o'clock, because I'm talking to a friend or a relative, meet me somewhere at 2 o'clock, let's have lunch. Do not show up at, 2:13 and get out and, not say nothing to me that I was waiting there for 13 minutes. Absolutely not. It's a boundary of mine, core value of mine. So if I get there at 2 o'clock and I'm just as busy and I fought traffic just as much and I have young kids and I got my own life, if I can get there at 2 o'clock, you can. And if you can't get there at 2 o'clock, I deserve a courtesy heads up. So that's a boundary of mine. So a boundary, again, anybody can do whatever they want, but if you're going to step into my sacred circle, my boundary needs to be respected. So I have a boundary of when I'm of timeliness. So when you tell me you're going to meet me somewhere, you need to meet me somewhere. Now, if you don't and you don't have a good reason, then I have to go to my next step, which is enforcing my boundary. And then if people disrespect and disregard my enforced boundary, then it goes into consequences. Now, consequences could be anything from, listen, it really, really doesn't sit well with me when I'm sitting here at the diner at 2 o'clock and you just come walking in at 2:17 and sit down and order. I mean, no, I deserve more courtesy than that. It also could be telling somebody, listen, I'm still going to be a part of your life. I just can't make plans with you anymore. And then if they're still disrespected, then you go into, you know what, you're just not somebody I really, value in my life, and we're not going to associate. Simple as that. So write down your core values, do a value audit, a value assessment, then invert those, turn those into boundaries, then write down how you're going to enforce those boundaries, then write down if those enforced boundaries are not respected, how are you going to implement consequences. Do that, enforce your boundaries, stick to it, and you will absolutely every single time be pouring confidence, self-worth, self-love, self-respect into yourself. Keep me posted.